Hello, everybody, and welcome to another stream. So, a couple of updates from yesterday is something that I mentioned was related to kind of that I was trying to get it to work as best as I could with the kind of the weapon equipping and so I did manage to refactor it in place, and it is working as expected. So it's the action is done on the actual blueprint itself that the weapon has. So I only need to call it from the player, and I'll show you that shortly. And the other thing that I was wanted to touch on is since I was working with the weapons, also kind of trying to make the bullet, or whatever weapon you have um, like the impact, make it so that there's a particle created, like if you shoot at a water body and there's like some splashes happening, concrete, it'd be like some dust and so on. So luckily, I managed to find through my library a bunch of these this little package, which is really quite comprehensive. That was, I'm not sure if it might be free, but it's this. Let's see, realistic started VFX pack. Some of the other ones are a little bit too sci-fi-ish, RPG-ish for me. So this one seems to have quite a few options. It's kind of interesting that it's tough to find a water, but we'll take a quick browse through some of these, So it does have quite a number of hits for some of these, like this one's kind of like a dust type of thing. Uh, this one's paper. I'm not sure exactly how many people will actually like um, need to have paper. I mean, is that like the plaster in the world? Hey guys, welcome, welcome. Sorry, I just had to refresh my stream window. I didn't see the comments. Hello. Um, yeah, so I can see, like rubber, but paper. Okay. Vegetation, yeah, I can see that, like on the ground. Hit ice. I'm thinking this could potentially suffice for kind of a water splash. It looks pretty decent. Um, and let's see, what else do we have? Brick. Okay, that's interesting. Asphalt. I guess the asphalt and the brick are kind of, and the concrete, they're pretty similar. Ceramic, I kind of can see ceramic be a little bit different. And then a default, which is, I guess these are sparks, so it could be like a metal. Um, and this package has a ton of stuff. This is actually my first time just looking at it. So if you do have it, or if it's on sale, there's quite a lot of things in here. And the thing that I like about it is that they look like they're particle because Niagara just kind of goes over my head. It's a little bit too complex. But actually, I can see there's like some blood too, which is pretty cool. Explosion, that looks awesome. Some more explosions. Yeah, so I believe I got this on a monthly sale, but there's quite a few of them. Of course, apparently like so there's actually some water particles here though. What I might make use of these is like the underwater, like when you swimming. So these could fit that really well. There's some like water drips from like pipes, which would look great. Like this one looks awesome. So I'll definitely make use of some of these particles, but for now, what I wanted to do is, get some of these surfaces hits so that I have those, I can use those in my project. And I'll show you, I think I might have shown it before, but if it's of interest, I'll show you how I handle my bullet, the, uh, the, how the bullet, when it hits, what it does when it hits a surface. And also something to mention, it's not very straightforward when something hits and this is something I discovered right before the stream. is not very intuitive um, when a projectile hits a surface to actually return what the surface is. So we'll take a look at that. I think that might be a good topic to cover at the beginning of the stream. And then maybe we'll just resume some of the world building stuff. Okay, so let me export this. I have this in a separate project. So I'm just going to quickly export these hit particles over into my main project. So let's migrate. And there we go. And that's where we want to put it. There. Okay. Oh yeah, Technified. That's why we're here. You know, go right ahead. And let me just kind of make some room here so I can see the questions. All right. So what I wanted to bring up is kind of if again, hopefully it's of interest, how I've set up my bullets. So I basically started with projectile, and that's kind of the parent of all my other projectiles, and I only changed the mesh. So if it's an arrow, then it's an arrow mesh. If it's like a rocket, then the same thing. Um, it's a little bit different depending on these, how you adjust the impulse. You know, like you want to see the arrow fly, or like the arrow or uh, the 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 rocket flying. So those might be a little bit different. But I'll just start off with a parent projectile, and hopefully I can walk you through some of this without getting into too much spaghetti. But basically, everything is going to generate an event hit, and I'm just testing to see if I hit a character, which is this grandparent class. And if I did, then I'm going to apply a point damage. And if I didn't, then I'm going to check to see if the said object is simulating physics. And if it is, I'm going to add an impulse. So that way, if it's like a ball or something and you hit it with a projectile, it's going to jump around. Or so then I have a small sequence here where I'm reporting a damage event, and then I apply the effects. So the effects are applied based on first the surface type, and just to cover quickly the surface type, if you go into your edit and you go to project settings, and here you'll be able to search for surface, and you see like I have a number of surfaces here, like carpet, concrete, grass, gravel, and I also have water. This is the one that I wanted to show it on. So based on that, I'm setting these parameters to a specific emitter to spawn and also a decal if so is needed. One of these would probably could be, something that you would add is flesh, like you hit a person or something. And Technify, I'll get to your question right away. Um, so once you set the emitter, then on the next sequence, I'm just spawning an emitter and also a decal if you know one has been provided. And also, you can when you spawn a decal, you can set a lifespan so that way it can go away after a while. Maybe 20 seconds might be too big, but that should be okay-ish. You can bring it a little lower. Also, depending on the projectile, if it's like projectile for like a rifle, maybe a little bit less if it's like an automatic and so on. So when it comes to the surface type, the way I'm getting this is on the event hit, you have this hit little structure here. So if you break that up, you can grab the fizz parameter, fizz material, and then off of that, you can just get the surface type. And if you break this, if you do a switch on this enum, basically what you get is this physical surface. Now, the one thing that you need in order for the the actual mesh to generate a collision, or not a collision, but to return the physical surface on when it hits something, there's a parameter in here they need to turn on. And this is off by default. So return material on a move. So when this is turned on, when the when the sphere is going to hit something, then it's going to be able to, through the event hit, you'd be able to actually get the physical material of that surface. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a explanation on how I handle projectiles. Oh, so okay, so Technify, do you paint the surfaces or do you just like add the texture immediately? Do you mean like on a terrain or on a material? And speaking of material, one thing that I forgot to mention is in order for you to get a specific surface type in your material instance, like in here I have water, I'm going to set the physical material to water physical material. So these are specific types of materials. And in order to create one, you can just right click, and on the materials, you should be able to get a, let's see, where was that? I thought it was around here. Was it physics? Physical material, there we go. So it's under physics and physical material. And I have created a bunch of them just for my needs. Like for example, for the water, let's bring that in. So the water has a bunch of specific attributes to this physical material that you can apply. But the important one is the surface type. So basically, if my water body, this mesh, has a material of water, um, then of this material, and this one has this physical material, it knows that when that surface generates an event hit to return the fact that the surface type is water. And at that point, I can set up um, a specific particle effect and a decal if I need so. So Technify, yeah, can you clear that up? Hopefully you understood my question. All right, so let me show you what's currently happening. I managed to find like a water splash material here. So what happens is when you shoot it at the surface, um, there's that material that gets spawned at the point of hit. And what I wanted to do is actually replace that with that little splash that we found. So let me see where that is. And I believe I've imported this one, realistic. Thought it was called something realistic, realistic. This one here. And particle, I only got the hit. And I'm gonna try and use the ice. Hopefully this is gonna look okay-ish. All right, let's take a look. Get the pistol, equip it. Oh, it's preparing shaders, so let's see whenever those are gonna get done. Yeah, it kind of looks like ice, to be honest with you. Um, I mean, not that it's necessarily bad, it's a good starting point, but it does look a little bit like, ice. I wish there was like an actual um, material for the water hit. Not sure why this project doesn't have one, and it has one for ice, but nothing for water. But let's see if we can adapt. Can we adapt one of these water ones? Let's just a bunch of bubbles. And the particles is like one uh, aspect of the engine that I'm somewhat, a little bit, not very proficient with. So let's try and I'm going to start with this water leak. We'll do a little bit of tryout on the particles as well. See what we can come up with. So I'm gonna duplicate this and water splash bullets bullet splash. All right, so let's take a look at this. I know a little bit, kind of, enough to be dangerous and break things, and hopefully I won't. So yeah. And Technify, yeah. Let me see. Did you post a question, or this one does not refresh properly with Yeah, I couldn't see if you posted a follow-up on that question. Um, Hopefully, oh, you mean so the grass material? Yeah, so that one I painted on. What you can do with and that's I assume the grass material on the terrain. So what you can do is with um, with the terrain, you can set up this what we mentioned in the previous stream was like an auto material. Basically, that's kind of how um, the the cliff is being applied to a certain slope. What you can do is you can set it up so you have they call a splat map, which is kind of a mixture of colors. And you have like red and blue, yellow, and based off of those, you can just fill the layer, and each one of those, like fill the layer is like filling the entire terrain. And each one of those colors might be set to a specific texture. Like the yellow might cover grass, the green, might cover mulch, and so on. So that could be a full-on auto material. And combining that with the slope, you could just procedurally paint your terrain in one move. But yeah, in my case, I do paint the surfaces manually. Excuse me for 1 second, guys. All right, sorry about that. It was just a delivery. All right, so let's take a look at this. Okay, yeah, so Technify, hopefully that kind of answers your question. So when I try to like paint the terrain, it just bugs out, and I don't know. How it can also depend on how complicated your material is. And if you'd like, after the stream, we can do a quick screen share so you can show it to me. Because sometimes that can cause some issues as well. All right, let's see if we can adjust this particle that I've kind of labeled bullet splash to actually just do one thing going up and just do it once. So I'm gonna try and turn off some of these items and see the ones that I don't really need. Let's see, drops. Okay, so for example, this drop could be something to spawn. Oh yeah, I think this goes over my head. Oh my God, these things are really complicated. So I'm gonna try and let's try and get to just edit water, I mean the ice. So this one, since this one's a hit, it's just a kind of a one instance. It only spawns it once. So let's try and change this to water, and maybe we can use some of the water materials instead of the um, ice material. Let's see, where is the, I hate this thing. This is so poorly made. I am not poorly made, but like the um, I guess in unlit mode you can't really do much. So just keep it I mean in lit mode, so keep it unlit um, under view and then view modes. Because if you have it to lit, it's just not gonna be too that visible. All right, so let's take a look at, I'm thinking it might be the debris or the derbis. So let's see, these are set as GPU sprites, and if we turn this off, let's see what that does. So actually, that's the little tiny pieces that jump up and down. See, like these ones, and I think that could be like the, that would be like the water droplets, so to speak. The one thing that, and this one, it's actually using glass. Interesting material choice. But let's see if we can, instead of glass, use a different material for, do we have something for water around here? Maybe this one, water drop? Let's try this one. Maybe that's the one that was kind of throwing me off a little bit more than usual. So there's the water drop. The material to be used. Now the wisp. What's the wisp on here? Okay, then there's the glow. I guess we can do without the glow. And there's also wispy. What's wispy? Okay, I kind of like that. It looks like there's that splash in the middle and the dirt. I guess we can keep this one. All right, well, let's see if this one improves anything. It's just an attempt at getting that one to look a little bit better. I might do this kind of drudge digging kind of thing offline. So let's export this one as well. Actually migrate it. All right, and let's get back into project here and try and apply this to our projectile. Not sure if it's going to look any better, but it's worth a shot. All right, so let's equip it. Somewhat better, though it kind of looks like it spawned. It seems like it spawned next to the pistol and not the water surface. Let's see if we can shoot it from like a little bit farther out. Yeah, see, it looks like it's kind of close to the pistol. Hey, Miles, welcome. And yeah, Tignify, my pleasure. It's usually kind of that way of, sometimes it's as easy as just showing it to somebody and it's done in 5 minutes or hopefully. Okay, so I kind of ran out of bullets, but let's see this one. So this is the projectile. Come on, reset. I mean, this is the, yeah, the particle effect. Hey, Wolfie, or Wolf XE. Um, so this is a project, a video game project that I'm working on, and right now is just showing off a little bit of work that I've done to with the bullet impact on specific surfaces. And the water is kind of tough to find a proper what you might call it. Um, it's only this one, that kind of looks okay-ish, but oh, I think I might know what the problem might be here. Um, yeah, see, there's no impact point on this, and the impact point was somewhere beneath the surface. That's interesting. It's just a little odd that the particle spawn looks like right in front of you. So yeah, Wolfie, if this is the first time joining the stream, this is a video game that I've been working on for quite a while. But yeah, it's an action adventure shooter game, single player. And yeah, I try to do streams every weekend. Also kind of showing off some of the stuff that I might have run into, that I might have learned, and hopefully people might make use of it. All right. Well, so we do have a particle being spawned. I just need to figure it out why it's not spawned at the location that I was hoping for it to be. The one thing that I wanted to try, let's also try the rifle and see how that would do. And oops, I forgot to update the rifle to use the new system. And so let's take a quick look at that. As I was saying, the my main character blueprint, I was able to, trim everything down to the point of I only need to unholster weapon. I don't need to do everything else, like the attachment, when to attach it is all based on the montage details with the anim notify and the weapon itself. So in this case, the main weapon being um, the parent. Let's take a quick look at that. So the unholster for this looks like this. So I'm playing a montage on the character, which I already know. I'm using the unholster montage. When to start, because some of the montages could have potentially the or like an animation could have everything from reloading to unholstering to holstering. It could all be on one animation. So it's good to be able to say, okay, I'm going to start here and I'm going to go all the way to the point of my unholster notify begin. And at that point, I'm going to attach it to hand. And I can also specify, depending on the weapon, the attached socket. So this is nice about the ALS system, that it already has this attached to hand type of thing where you can specify where to attach it, an offset and all on. So yeah, we'll be here. So I'll be here for another hour and a half or so anyways. All right. And then once it completes, it goes into this equipped state for the weapon, which means that you can actually fire it. So what I wanted to do is uh, when you start, you start the animation. You don't want to be able to fire when once as long as the animation is playing. So that way, once the montage completes, then you can set the state of the weapon to be equipped. And when you actually press the fire button in your character, um, you check to see, well, okay, is the main weapon, do I have the main weapon set to something? In my case, it would be a pistol, or this one is, I guess this is just a weapon parent. But let's say it's the pistol. And is the weapon state equipped? If it isn't, then, when you press the button, you shouldn't fire, right? So hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, okay, so let's take a look in my parent class, which is here. So I have this set up for the pistol, which is If anybody else is using ALS, you have this function where it's kind of, updating the held object. So I have this pistol here, this is kind of like the new pistol that I have. So let's take a look at the rifle and do the same thing in here. So I'm setting the main weapon and then I'm unholstering it. Let's actually make sure that I'm providing the right socket. And probably that's why I didn't attach it. And everything else is handled in the parent class, so I don't need any of this anymore. And I can unspaghettify some of this stuff. It's always good to clean things up. All right, let's give this a shot and see if the rifle also works. I know it does fire. If I recall correctly, I did get the pistols on there, or like um, the actual projectile to fire. Let's see, where is this object? When did I delete that? All right, let's give this a shot and see if the weapon is now, or like the rifle is now gonna get equipped. And it's not. Why is that? It's on the. Oh no, it should just be fine. Do I have anything specific in my rifle that I don't have in the pistol? Let's take a quick little dive in here. All right, so yeah, as you can see, each one of the weapons has a bunch of these parameters. So unless it's something very custom, like the bow, everything else is just handled pretty simple. But why is this one not behaving properly? So we're unholstering the weapon. That's the pistol. Let's go to the rifle. So we're checking to see if the rifle is in the inventory. We don't want to equip it otherwise. And then we're unholstering it. Let's do some debugging here. All right, so picking up the rifle. All right, we're equipping this. So F11 to jump into it. F10. All right, so we got the right character. That is a little bit interesting. Why? Because it did spawn the actual rifle, on the socket, but it is not bringing it to the hand. So why would that be? I guess there's something to figure out. So I'll try and figure that out after the stream. But let's also try some of the other particles on like the landscape, because that's another part of that you'll be able to, like, hit it with projectiles. So I'm gonna try and get a look at right now the landscape is this gravel. material. So let's take a look at this physical material here, and it's under gravel. And if we go back into the projectile, we have the gravel, but it's not spawning anything. Let's take a look at that package that I just imported, at least for the hits. And let's find one that might fit this. At least with with the ground, unless it's, like unless you have a layer that's just um, like watery that you expect to have splashes. For now, I'm just going to use, like one of these, maybe vegetation. Let's see how the vegetation works. So that's gravel here. And for decal, I'm not going to worry about a decal on that. Let's see if we actually get something to spawn at the point of contact. Oh, there we go. And yeah, it's just kind of preparing shaders. The only thing is, oh, there we go. So it seems to be spawning it in the right place. The only, oh, you know what? I'm seeing the issue right now is that if you look at it, it seems like it's spawning the particle like sideways and not, and not to the normal of the surface, which is kind of interesting why that is happening. And I'm guessing that's why why it looked weird on the water surface as well, that it's just it wasn't spawned. And so this one should be kind of happening like that, you know. Um, so when it hits something. But from what I can tell, when it when it hits the surface, oh, well, look at that. So I am setting a rotation on and when I'm spawning it, and I don't think I should be doing that. I mean, that can be done for the decal, but when you actually hit a surface, I don't think this is, let's see, where is this coming from? It should be from event hit and hit normal, but is that the right one? Let's take a look at, could the impact normal be the one that I'm looking for instead of that? Let's take a quick try at this. Oh, well, that's kind of better. Can't really tell. Doesn't look, it still looks like it's going into, sideways. So let's try and just like instead of this, rotation, let's not affect it. And I'll try and do a little bit more digging into that impact normal and how that, yeah, so see, this is how it should be looking. And now it looks like it actually spawns in the right place. The only thing with that is if you hit this at an angle, yeah, so see like if you hit the terrain at an angle, for example, I mean the water is going to be flat, no matter what. I'm not too worried about that. But the angle of the terrain might be um, you know, like I said, at an angle, because that's how you have terrain. But so that's what I'm going to try and take a look at the how that normal actually works in the event hit. And I'm not sure if this is the right one to do the rotation from X vector. So we have the impact normal. And not sure if this the rotation from axis or so I'd have to give it a try, but at least that's a good step forward in terms of creating a particle effect that spawns at at the point of the bullet impact. Okay, so with some of that development updates out of the way, um, I do have a couple of things that I have jotted down for me to fix by next week. And also one thing to mention, if you guys work on a project or something like that, one thing that I do use to keep track of things is this website called Hack and Plan, which is it's free and it's kind of like um, a ticketing system, so to speak. If anybody is familiar with those, they can like either put down some ideas they might have. You can move them across from like to do in progress, done, and so on. And that way you can keep track of things and keep yourself organized. Post-its are good, but sometimes, yeah, you don't want to want to have a full desk full of post-its. All right, so let's get back into what we started off yesterday, and that is some of this world building around here, and kind of finishing off some of those exits from the map. And whoop, I have a little bit of a hiccup over here. I'm not sure how this might have happened. Let's quickly fix this since we're here. There. All right, so we said that we had an exit over here, which kind of looked, it's almost there, you know. I can kind of tell that the mesh on this side is kind of the mesh on this side, just because I've been using it for so long. So they kind of look almost, kind of a mirrored type of surface here. So, something to think about, I guess, if I want to keep it that way. Um, so we were gonna finish off some of this area around the lake to kind of work the same way that we have on this end over here. So on this end, we kind of have everything in place. These kind of massive cliffs that frame the lake exit. And I wanted to do the same thing on that corner where that water body is just over this hill. So for that, I'm just gonna go ahead and copy some of these because the placement seems to be working out okay with these massive cliffs to frame the exit to that lake. So Wolf, yeah, I am. I am working on this alone. And I mentioned that in previous streams, it's that way, the way I look at it, I'm not getting bored um, by doing it this way. I've like I've been working on this project for years, you know, gone through another engine in the process, and I never got bored of it. So that I think, from a solo developer standpoint, that is to me at least, that was helpful to keep me going. I think if I might have been locked into one duty, um, you know, it would have worked because you probably working for somebody at that point if you're like in one specific duty, so you might be making some money, I would think. But since I'm not, and it's just like a passion project, and being able to one day do some, level design, one day do some, you know, the visual scripting, programming parts of things, it keeps me going, So I'm happy about that. Oh yeah, so you've been working on some 2D games in Unity. Nice, nice, very nice. That's when I started, unfortunately, the way that I went about choosing the engine was, okay, which one looks prettier? And at that point, it was CryEngine. I didn't really think of, like, complexities and, okay, it might look prettier, but is it easy to develop with? So that was on me, and then I was chatting with a friend of mine, and he was also coming from CryEngine, and he started using Unreal, and he kept on telling me, well, you should try Unreal. And there were some things that I started getting frustrated with CryEngine, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna give Unreal a try for like a month, and I never went back. So yeah, thank you, Oscar, if you're watching this. All right, so I'm gonna try and do a little bit of cleanup around this terrain here, so I don't get these trees spawned in the water. This particular layer has nothing that spawns on it. It's just like a, kind of a path, trail, vegetation removal surface, so where I have roads and stuff. Yeah, so I did go through some tutorials. Luckily, after coming from CryEngine, I did have a bit of understanding about, components and, parenting and, uh, my day job as a software engineer, helped me with, that aspect of things. Um, so the channels that I followed, and let me just finish this kind of going around here. And I'll post it in the chat. Let me do this here around this water body. Bear with me for just 1 minute here. Usually, so the channels that I went for are the ones that have like a series of tutorials, like make your FPS game from scratch type of thing, And if even if they don't go too deep into things, they give you a good overview of how to get started, and some of the concepts and all that kind of stuff. So let me type it here in chat. One of them is Ryan Laley. Laley. Another one is Virtus Learning Hub, I believe is called. There's also Matt as planned. I believe that's how you spell it. Um, there's for quick tidbits, on certain things. There's this one here, Matthew Wadstein. Hopefully, I'm spelling this right. Um, let me see what else. There was a couple of other ones that I had in mind and that I went through that also had these kind of series of tutorials. But Ryan Laley and Virtus are um, um, are kind of the ones that come, top of mind. Oh, Technify, yeah. Please go ahead. All right, so let's try and respawn some of this stuff here. Um, And then, so I'm looking for tree. I should label this a little bit better because I have a couple of these ones around here. So let's simulate the vegetation, and hopefully they're going to be, out of the water. There, that's better. I still have a little bit of a patch around here, but I could do that. So is it true that you don't need a bachelor's degree to become a game developer and software engineer? It is totally true. It's a matter of keeping up with it. Um, you know, um, I'm not gonna kind of bash college education because it's useful. You create a lot of connections, lifelong friendships and all that. Um, but it's more of a social thing than a knowledge. I mean, yeah, you do get a lot of knowledge, but if you go to college, there's a lot of people that went to college and they didn't really make anything, because they just didn't do something that they liked, so they just kind of went through it. Um, and I think the point of college is maybe to give you structure more than anything. That's what I think. That's what you go to high school, you get structure, through like assignments and all that kind of stuff. So I think college just builds on that because it's still, it expands some of the knowledge, but it builds some more structure into your life, with projects, you get to work on teams, you get to work with other people. So I think that's the benefits aspect of it. Um, when it comes to something that you're passionate about, um, it's a tough draw, like um, I didn't learn any of the game development in college, like like nothing at all, no concepts or nothing about that. Um, Luckily for my senior project, I worked on an Android video game because it's in Java. So it was like a battleship video game that I did, and that was my senior project. So um, I was lucky that the teacher that was in charge of the senior project, the since it's a software engineering project, he was open to it, because I was like, oh, you know what, it's Java programming, so there's going to be so many concepts that I'm going to get to apply, and I was trying to advertise it, and he accepted it, and that was great, and I think that was kind of the first um, exposure to game development. But as far as actually what I'm doing now, this is all just self-taught and nothing um, nothing that I learned in college. Everything was just after it. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an answer. And this is again just my own point of view type of thing. Um, you know what? I think nowadays, I don't see too big of a differentiation when it comes to colleges. I think it's a matter of your education, like or no, not education, sorry, but your upbringing. Back since I'm from Romania, like going to college is used to be. Nowadays, I'm not sure if uh, people or like parents press their children into going to college as much. But when I was going to high school, like college was the next step in your life, so um, and most people would like, try and push their kids to go to college. That might be changing as well. But but yeah, it's also definitely I think a matter of culture and I mean I'm just talking from my own experience here as well. Um, yeah. Wolf, the only thing that I've actually published was that game that Battleship game that I did for my senior project. Something that people actually were able to download and play on Android. So hopefully this is gonna be wow, these things look pretty honky. I need to figure those out. But hopefully you know this will be the case with this project as well. Like people would be able to play this. And at least my plan is this summer to have a like a pre-alpha build that people can test out. And that's what I'm trying to work hard on getting the map completed. And so people can navigate it, not run off the map, because that's you. I don't want people to be able to like fall off the map. And so that's the plan at the moment to hopefully finish this project off and get people to try it out, uh, troubleshoot on performance, maybe um, some of the gameplay aspect of things. I'm gonna try and have some NPC interactions and some basic missions, and hopefully once while people do that, I'm gonna continue working on the story and laying that out. But um, but yeah, hopefully within the next few months is what I'm planning to do. So yeah, it's definitely a long-term project. It is. And but it's also a passion project and I just enjoy working on it a lot. All right, well, let's do some more sculpting and kind of join these two um, corners together. Let's get that done. We have done almost everything down here, almost everything on this side and this corner here to the lake. And let's finish off this last boundary. Oh, thank you, Technify. Yeah, I mean, it like I said, it started off at a great point from the original developer. I just went about and you know, kind of sculpted it. That's uh, the rest, the part that I did. But everything here in the middle, besides all the populated areas and the streets and um, it does have quite a bit of features still left from the original map. And that was great to have a great, to have a good point to start off with. And then I just added, kind of the rest of, the surrounding mountains, like in the distance, and to give you a sense of, there's something back there. If you're, because like, you're not gonna be able from here, right? You're not gonna be able to see. There's gonna be some of this edge, like you see these cliffs around here, but there's also like if you step further back, like from here, maybe from the town, you'd be able to see like the edges of the mountains, like here around here. So even though the cliffs definitely help, it's good to also have these really far back meshes that you look at. And like I said, the cliffs are mostly for limiting the player to going off the map. Yeah. All right. So let's do some more terrain sculpting here. And sculpt, we got the size, the scale is good. Let's try and make this one again to 16,000 and go about raising some of this terrain. What I wanted to try actually, let's see if I'm gonna start from the beginning here, and let's set this to 2. I just wanted to do one stamp and get a big kind of bump in here. Let's do this at 0. Yeah, the nice thing with this is having the roads, sculpting the terrain. That's tremendously helpful. And I think what I'm gonna need to do is actually, let's hide the vegetation for now. And this part here, that was kind of my attempt at trying to do the edging, but I wanted to do it a little bit more inland and not so like right on the corner. There's going to be some of these cliffs behind some of these areas, but I want this to be a little bit further inland than just this. All right, so I'm going to try and actually smooth this out first. And apparently I might just need to go as far as flattening it. All right, and now let's smooth it out. Best as possible. Just kind of thinking it might work a little bit. The brush might be a little bit more powerful, but like especially around there, especially with the tool strength being, double. Let's continue on with some of this flattening, and I'm gonna increase the brush fall off. Okay, so we're almost there over with that one. Let's try and like smooth it out a little bit more. There we go. All right, now back into sculpt mode. And let's set this to 16,000. And actually try and get this even a higher value. Yeah, so having one of these brushes that comes from like a height map definitely helps, but it's a kind of a tight balance that you need to do, um, especially when you kind of sculpt some of these next to each other. Like here, this looks quite okay-ish, but you get these crests in between that need to be fixed. It would have been nice if I had, I know I have another one of these, I believe. Let me see if I can use that. Not sure. I haven't used it in a while to see how this is gonna. Whoa, that's a little bit ugly. Technify, how long have you worked on this game? So it's been ever since I started. Ooh, that actually turned out much better than expected. So might as well use this one also. Excuse me. So I have started on this game about 10 years ago, and almost 5 of those years were in CryEngine. So and after I kind of I gave up using CryEngine, I went to Unreal. So Unreal, I started using Unreal about 5 years ago, and so of course you got to think of it as kind of the learning curve as well that was involved in the whole process. So yeah, 5 years part-time. So the nice thing about it is, that I was able to focus on this part-time. Oh yeah, that's definitely a lot. I mean, of course. But again, it's one of those things where you know you're passionate about something that you want to give it all you got. And since I'm luckily financially I can support myself. This is something that I can do in my spare time and so on. And I think the biggest thing with it is um, to keep at it and not just be, I've definitely had times where I felt kind of discouraged because, oh my God, I'm trying to do this thing and that thing and um, nothing really works and I can't figure out how to do this class and so yeah, there's definitely times like that. There's gonna be, but just getting past that is always good. It always feels good to see progress. And sometimes it's doesn't, progress doesn't come like, at a snap of your fingers. And that's what I'm saying, it does take some time to, especially if you're not doing it full time. Um, it can take a little bit to get things going. And yeah, oh, totally. It like every single time I'm getting past one of those obstacles, one of those hurdles, it feels really good, like yeah, definitely. All right, so these edges of the map are starting to take shape, which I'm pretty happy with. So from a ground level, where the player would be, that looks like a pretty good blocking area. So that's the I think that's what something I showed. Did I show that yesterday? I believe Technify, where the material itself applies this layer based on the slope. So it's with that I believe was it what is it the height lerp node, and you can adjust at what well, let's call it angle the the this rock gets applied, this rock material. Oh, like the material itself, you asking? Check out my I can show it to you if you want to chat after this, I can quickly show it to you. But if you want to check it out now, I think you should be able to see it in my I think I showed it yesterday in the video. Let me know if you're having any trouble finding it. All right, so as always, What helps the most with this is having vegetation on these peaks. So I'm going to paint some of this mulch layer that has vegetation spawning around it. Yeah, the landscape is definitely uh a big subject when it comes to game development. I remember the same thing with CryEngine. I think with the landscape, um, at first I kind of felt like CryEngine had an advantage over Unreal, but as time went on and I got used to it, I kind of saw that okay, they're on par. There's no they all have their own advantages. All right, so now these cliffs kind of join into these cliffs down here, which is good. And let's spawn some vegetation around here. I'm gonna just try and paint some spots where I want to have some grouping of trees. All right, let's see how this is gonna turn out. Oh, duh. I was hiding the vegetation, so of course there was nothing gonna be shown. All right, yeah, so this one looks pretty nice. I'm quite happy with that. And then it's going to be the other exit, kind of just entrance to this little cave here or what have you. And with road splines, these already sculpt the terrain, which is great. All right, well, the one thing that I did want to add, so we have this edge going on around here. There's kind of I need to paint a little bit more vegetation around these areas here. They look a little barren. So let's paint some of this mulch and we'll spawn some of these trees around here as well. There we go. Hopefully that's going to fill it in a little bit better. And this is one of the reasons that I really, really like the procedural foliage tools. Um, and with 5.2, I think it's going to be even more powerful, though at least for my needs is something that I was talking about. What is currently there is pretty quite enough. Because as usual, there's only so much time in the day that you can achieve things. So also have to know the the limits. I'll try and paint a little bit more of just some kind of grouping of trees around here, just clusters to fill in some of this valley. There we go. And from the ground, there's some elevation, some differences in trees being spawned around there. All right. Well, let's do the same thing on this edge like we're doing over here with some of these cliffs. And I'm gonna use this kind of Icelandic terrain to just Uh, though, what I'm wondering is, so I'm using, for those of you that are new, I'm using some of this IA scatter tool. And currently this one is, so I'm spawning some meshes along a spline. The one thing that I'm trying to figure out is how to spawn this right along the spline and not check for collisions. So let me see. Um, Overlapping, no detection. Where was that? I thought there was like an option. I guess that's one of the things that I haven't tried just yet to figure out how to spawn these meshes on right on the spline and not check for collision. Because right now this one is checking for a collision, and unfortunately the collision is, too far down because of this mesh. These background meshes are huge. But can we? Yeah, maybe I just need to have these at least for now until I figure out, or I may just edit the what the original developer had. So for now, I'm just going to use these as a flat surface to so that it can trace and get some responses. Let's see if this is gonna how this is gonna work. Gonna try and place them right alongside the edge of the map. And let's move this spline in place. Can I select it? Come on, yes I can. I thought I could. There we go. So this is exactly this, this is what I was talking about. It would have to have something to for the trace to go and hit. Hey Forbum. Oh, nice. If I recall correctly, whatever custom thing you got was a pretty solid machine. All right, so yeah, there we go. Now we have some of these kind of these really farther back meshes like this. So when you're on the ground level, they're kind of they look like that. They give you a little bit more depth, feeling of depth as well as what I like to say. All right, let's take a look at this one. Get him to spawn on top of the surface. See how it looks from the ground level. Yeah, so see, there's there's this kind of cliff here, which at some point I'm gonna place some blocking volumes, so you can't walk up the slope and past those. And but there's also these big rocks behind it, and on top of those, what I'd like to add is I also have one of these spline meshes that has a couple of trees on. So that way, on top of these, I can have some trees spawned, kind of like that. And this kind of these spline points are a little crazy because they come from the other side of the map, but this should, oops, oh, this point is like way up in the air. There we go. That's better. So Wolf, I try to stream uh you know the more planned streams. I try to do them on the weekends at around um around lunchtime or noon Eastern time. Not sure if are you from the US, Europe, or Asia, Australia, anywhere else in the world? But yeah, usually I try to do them around 4-ish GMT, if that helps. Yeah. Um, and I've been trying to do some streams in the evenings as well. Of course, it might not um, uh, hit everybody, so to speak, but just getting some more exposure, I would say. Hey, Ohio. Nice. Heavens. Thank you. There we go. So having some of those cliffs back there, I think also helps. Let's try and make a couple more of these to mainly around this part here um, where the lake is, or like this water body. There we go. So having some cliffs on top of those like that. Um, and then bringing some of these trees to complement like the tops of the cliffs. If I can move these blind points properly, that is. There we go. So let's bring in the same thing that I have over here for this water body, that's, swimmable, but I was initially thinking of having I created this little mesh to teleport the player back to a specific point, being, this point here. But I'm thinking I might just do it. I'm kind of considering either keeping this or actually just putting a blocking volume where the player can go past a certain point. And because the way this one works, this little actor, once you reach the first volume, you get a notification saying, you're kind of walking, you kind of going off the map, or you're about to swim off the map. Um, Turn back, and once you hit if you keep on going and you hit the second one, then you get teleported back. This is, I believe, something like what they did in Far Cry, where I was trying to walk off the map and I got a warning saying you're going too far. Um, and then I got teleported back because I kept on going. Hey, Jonathan, welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right, so I'm gonna get a couple of these water bodies like I have here. This way you can see into the distance, so to speak, with the water. And let me actually select the proper level just to have them all in the same place. And make sure to save often, especially uh, especially on my machine. I'm trying to save as often as I can. All right, so let's bring these water actors here. And I'm just going to delete this water plane from the original developer. That one. Let's try and lift those in place. I think that's a good position there. That works. Oh yeah, so Heavens, I do use Git, and I publish it to Git at least every other day or two. The one thing that I used to publish it daily, or not publish it, but push it to the remote repository. I used to do that, but the thing with Git is that it also pushes the history, and then the history with these big projects is going to be big, like really big. It gets bigger than the size of the repository, like the repository data. And I ran over 100 gigs doing that, and GitHub limits you to 100 gigs. So, I had to like pare it down to every few days or so. So, kind of something to keep in mind, I guess. All right, so it looks pretty good from this end, and it looks pretty good from this end. What I might do is, let's see, can we bring this particular mesh a little closer in without making it look too bad? Let's see how that would look. Oh wow, that reflection looks kind of cool. I just noticed that. Uh, and yeah, wow, it's 167. So you got me beat there. But yeah, that's doing it in GitHub, and luckily it's free. Um, that's the plus side of it. I actually haven't looked at how big the blueprints are in my project. I don't think they're that big, but I think they're getting up in size as well. Because I still need to clean up quite a lot of them. So I'm trying to like get some of this water body on each sides of this navigable area, so you're not going to be able to it's not going to make it look too weird. You can't see too far anyways, but if you get to this point, at a ground level, you'd be able to see something out there. But and kind of the same thing goes for, on this corner here. I think that covers it pretty well. Let's add a little bit of, excuse me, some of these trees that I had here. Let me add a couple of these on this little ridge here on these meshes. Whoa, kind of like that. All right, and one could be done around this one as well, right around there. All right, yeah, there we go. That's pretty decent. All right, I think here in the middle, it could work out to have a little bit of an island connecting these. Let's see how that might turn out. Sculpt, flatten, pick this area here. And a little bit of smoothing could go a long way, I would say. Wow, how deep is this thing? Ooh, jeez, that's really deep. Oh, the realistic head bob effect. So there is a little bit going on in my project. I have motion sickness, and every game that has that, I don't play because I get dizzy pretty quick. Um, I'm not sure. I mean, there's definitely games that um, are okay. You know what? I can see this game being like a head bobbing kind of game, but yeah, I don't want to put people through that kind of torture like that I wouldn't put myself through. And yeah, so that's one of the reasons that I don't have any plans to do head bobbing. All right, so we're almost done, trying to make this a little bit of an island over here. And let's also paint some some moss, and then we'll paint some, actually some mulch, I guess I started with, and then some moss in between. And also the path around here, because I guess there's some trees over there in the water. All right, let's do one last spawning of trees here, see how that turns out. Oh, that's kind of a little too much trees in here, I think. All right, that's better. I guess I'm just gonna sculpt this little inland thing here. So flatten, pick this up. There we go. Make this a little bit wider there. All right, let's just paint the edges around here to be like some kind of like a grassy little surface. Some around here. Oh, that didn't work out so well. I was trying to flatten it, but the flattening point was, there we go, that's better. Okay, I can live with that. All right, so now we have this corner of the world in place. Excuse me. And so to end the stream, let's finish off the little road tunnel exit on this side of the map. And I'm also gonna cheat a little bit and grab the stuff that I have on this end. If you recall this one from yesterday, there's like well, the not reachable end of the tunnel, so to speak. But I'm gonna use these meshes since they seem to fit in pretty decently um, into this opening. And just place it to that end. Let's see how these are gonna work out in here. Oh, not too bad. It's a good start. So what I'm trying to do is I'm actually going to place the meshes first and then sculpt the visibility layer to kind of, put a hole in the terrain so we can see through it. Or, that fits pretty good on that side, I would say. Let's help this side a little bit with one of these meshes. So it doesn't, it doesn't directly jump from like terrain into here into this little corner mesh, and it hopefully this one seems to be blending in pretty well with the rest of the terrain. So, Technify, oh yeah, go ahead. Please ask away. All right, and on this side, let's place these a little bit better. Let's see, am I gonna go with this one? I'm definitely gonna try at least. All right, let's sculpt the terrain just to work it around this mesh here. And I'm just gonna go with the splines. And for the fall off on this end, I'm gonna do maybe a 4,000. Okay, there we go. And the left side, just gonna keep the fall off factor a little smaller so we can get these two meshes showing through. Just like that. So maybe 0.4, 0.3. No, that's actually I need to go a little higher. So 0.5, 0.46. That's pretty good there. Um, yeah, definitely. That's what I said. You can ping me on Discord, and if I'm around, we can definitely sit down and have a quick chat and go over it for sure. All right, let's see about this section here. How do we want to handle this? I'm gonna try and sculpt the terrain since around the landscape spline, the road, that one already sculpts it out. So I'm gonna try and just sculpt it with with these brushes, like right around here. Try and bring that up. Kind of like that. Might be a bit too much. There. Oh yeah, no problem. All right, get a little bit more of a variety in there. And let's try with this brush there. Okay, and I might actually not even need this, or at least I can position it a little bit differently. All right, so it's just this little guy here that is having some well, blending difficulties, but we can fix that. That's better. Oh yeah, this is the tunnel from yesterday. I just kind of copied and moved it onto this side of the map to to save me some trouble. I did need to readjust them a little bit because it's not one is not like the other, but it seems to be working out okay. So there we go. Now that we have everything pretty much in place, I can sculpt the visibility and put a hole in it. Um, that's a good question. I plan to do this pre-alpha within the next couple of months. I would say I wanted to do it this summer, and get people to play it out and test it. And now with the terrain almost completed, like the levels, I think I only have two more levels that I need to place in the world, and a build should be good to go right after that. I wanted to, before actually getting people to play it, I want to have at least a couple of missions going on and some interactions with the NPCs and maybe even with the enemies. And so that's the plan. Well, so I'm definitely, there was I had somebody else ask me this, and since this game is going to be like the way that I plan on having this is like kind of episodic, because I already thought of a part two, kind of to continue the story. Um, even though they might not be, you can definitely play part two without necessarily playing part one, But I am, my thought on it initially was, okay, do part one as a free game and then, ask for money for part two. But then at the same time, it didn't feel right. So it's a matter of either do both parts free or, from the get-go, have each one cost. And uh, the way that I'm looking at it at the moment is probably like $10, something in that area. At least that's my initial thinking. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'd really appreciate the support. It's like I said, it's a passion project. So it's not definitely not your, Far Cry type of investment kind of thing. But but yeah, it's something that I've enjoyed working on. And would love, I mean, the main thing is, like I said, um, if I sell two copies, if I sell 1,000 copies, 10,000 copies, if the two people that have bought it and played it and enjoyed it, I'd be happy with that. Of course, the ideal would be to be able to, make a living off of this, but if that doesn't happen, so be it. Oh, hey, Deeper State. Making for realistic games take 4 to 10 years to complete, depending size of teams, of course. Um, yeah, when I started doing this, I knew it was going to be, time consuming and involved. So, uh, but the thing of the matter is, like, if it's a being a passion project, I think it's the biggest, to me. Um, money, yeah, money is great to be able to sustain yourself and actually do this as full time. Uh, but yeah, at the same time, being starting off as a hobby and not relying on it, for finances, um, that's also, uh, I guess, good for me. Because, I totally get, people trying to, do an early access and that kind of stuff, to get some finances for the project. I totally understand that. Come on. So Technify, they are definitely in indoor areas. They're not scary. 'Cause it's not a horror game, but there's definitely areas, especially the ones that are focused around the NPCs, and some that focus around, how they've come to be, hiding in the bunker, from the bad guys in the world. So those are definitely going to be there's definitely going to be some indoors areas as well. Yep. All right. So there is kind of the the end of the other tunnel. Um, and I'll just need to add some of these meshes for the road in here, and that should be. And yeah, I need to make some adjustments to these. Kind of they don't line up perfectly, but I just wanted to add these ones in here and to complete that. Yeah, so Technify, just message me on. You said you're in Sweden, right? Did I recall that correctly? Okay, cool. So yeah, just uh, I might have um, to go do some grocery shopping, but yeah, just DM me on Discord, and we can have a quick chat. All right, just adding some of that so it doesn't doesn't look like there's nothing underneath. Oops, that's a little too much. All right, well, that looks pretty decent for a tunnel. Um, yeah, there it is. Okay, so Deeper State. Yeah, so this is a first person, action adventure type of game. It's The character enters the world, through a plane, because I mean, yeah, that has been used already in multiple other games, but it the way you started, you fly in with the plane. So what the plane does, it's gonna start doing like kind of running along a spline along the terrain, and you're gonna get three options to jump out of the plane. You'll get the fact that the plane is crashing, right? And you'll get three options to jump out of the plane. So there's gonna be three different spots where you're gonna be able to jump out of. And depending on where you jump, you're gonna start the game a little bit differently. Like the approaches are gonna be different. The starting missions, I'm still debating whether to change them depending on where you start. But getting to the first objective is definitely gonna be different depending on where you jump out of the plane. So that's from a replayability standpoint, I'm thinking to do it to have different missions depending on where you start, but probably not at the with the first release. Oh, Technify, yeah, that's definitely it. I mean, if you think of it, that's how you start in Rust. That's how you start in what is it? BioShock, I believe. What else? I know there was a few other ones that start that way, with like a plane crash and the game starts after that. Uh, and that's why I wanted to make it. I'm not sure if those give you the option to start it in a different location. Like, you do the first playthrough and you start and you crash, in the town, or you start and crash by the warehouse or by the facility, in that kind of regards. So, but yeah, Deeper State, hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea. It's a single player game since those are the types of games that I play. And yeah. Oh, Stranded Deep. I have not played that one. I think might have heard of it. Stranded Deep. I'll probably have to take a look. Check it out. All right. Well, I'm gonna end the stream here as well because we're coming up on 2 hours, so I just want to keep it around 2 hours for the stream. So guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope to see you on the next one. I'll try and do some more streams during the week, kind of in the evenings after work. We'll see how that's going to work out. But I'll try and post it on, Discord and also schedule it on YouTube. So if anybody's around, feel free to stop by and we'll have a chat. All right, Heavens, thank you so much. Technify, Deeper State, everybody else. I hope to see you on the next one. Have a great rest of your Sunday and a great week coming up, and I'll see you soon. All right, goodbye, everybody.